Oh, setting up your meeting for custom streaming service is what it's telling me here.
Jamie, I still have your sled. I'm going to return it today.
All right, Jamie.
That's for you to keep, bro. That's yeah.
I think this is live now, guys.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Rotarians and Thursday lunch snackers. I am pleased to be on today's Thursday call. I happen to be a Rotarian and the chair of our program committee, which I think is an umbrella organization for this Hearty Thursday bunch. So while I haven't attended many, I'm glad to be here today in part to introduce my friend, my neighbor, and maybe a future Rotarian, certainly a Rotarian in training, Charlie Uihlein. Charlie's story is eerily similar to mine in as much as he claims to have been a very average student, and he went into teaching. I was a very average student. I went into teaching too, but Charlie continues his story. After 3 years teaching here in Milwaukee at an urban high school, he was really trying to help students figure out how to find their purpose. And giving up the traditional academic classroom, he spent a year or a portion of a year perhaps working in experiential ed. And he saw in nature, that's where students, teens, really found their own sense of purpose. And with that, he figured out his own purpose. So he, along with his wife, another high school teacher, decided to found Teens Grow Greens. I've been pleased to be a donor. A couple of summers ago, I was a co-chair of the Teens Grow Greens annual Chef's Dinner Gala, which is a great event. And I really marvel at the success that Charlie and his program have brought to the teens here in Milwaukee, originally starting on the north side and now expanding additionally to the south side. But without further ado, Charlie, drop it on us, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie, and thanks everyone for having me today. I do appreciate it. Wonderful introduction, Jamie. I appreciate that. I wanted to start off with a question for all of you, and hopefully I can share the screen. I think I can here. And it's kind of nice because we do have a small enough audience here that I can ask people this, and you can probably respond. As a way of connecting you to kind of what we are all about. What was your first job and what did you learn from your first job, right? Think back, or maybe not too far back, about what your job was. If we could just one or two people to share out about what their first job was and what they learned from that first job.
Mine was selling concessions at the Upper Peninsula Championship Rodeo in Iron River, Wisconsin, or Iron River, Michigan. And I learned how to use some developing sales skills to be able to sell $150 worth of soda in one night.
It's a record. Wow. Congrats. Anyone else? Jamie?
Well, my first job, I was a summer camp counselor, Charlie, at Camp Manitowish. And there we learned the importance of always having a bag of tricks to entertain a group of campers, as well as then to teach them about themselves. And a lot of what you're talking about with experiential ed, helping guide them to their own sense of purpose through traditional camping skills, canoeing, kayaking, backpacking, as well as in group dynamics.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you still bring a lot of those skills to your work today, Jamie. Like you're a salesman and you're good at it. So, I mean, ideally what you get from the first job is you gain more than money, right? You gain some type of experience that you can take with you into life. And I would say that's something that's really missing from today's high school, is that you're missing that type of experiential learning where you can develop skills that you really utilize outside of the classroom. And so when I was a teacher, and Jamie mentioned this, I saw that that was missing from a lot of the teenagers. And I also saw that a lot of the teenagers wanted jobs, but they lacked some of those, essential skills. And they also lacked a network. My first job was at the Schlitz Audubon Nature Center. I got that because my mom knew somebody at the Schlitz Audubon Nature Center who could connect me, right? That's the network. So what came about from that was Teens Grow Greens. And this right here is the network. So we started off in 2014 with 10 teenagers, and that's on the north side. And now we have 50 teenagers through the internship program. And there are 2 chapters. So there's one on the north side and there's one on the south side. So we've expanded through that. And what we do is we are taking them through this journey to really develop their skills, habits, and values. So every teen that we have fills out an application. Every teen who turns in an application, they get an interview just because it's such good practice. We accept the teens, and the first thing we do with them is we build those soft skills. We build those essential skills and some of the employment norms. The way we do that is by talking about our values. Our values are respect, responsibility, and resilience. Respect means that you're showing up early for work, right? That's something that is respecting your employer's time as well as your time. Responsibility means if you are going to miss work, you need to let somebody else know ahead of time. So building up some of the norms and some of the skills that they can utilize throughout the program and in their life. In the spring, they are figuring out what it means to be healthy, and healthy in their mind, body, and spirit. And the way they're doing that is they are growing food from seed at our very own Weber's greenhouse, and I will get back to that. They are cooking food, learning how to cook healthy food, and then they're also setting goals so that they can become healthier themselves. And what they find is that the goals that they set will impact their parents, their friends, right? It's kind of this first idea that I can impact others, I can be a leader. We build on that by, during the summer, the teens will mentor 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in everything they've learned in the past: how to grow food, how to cook food, and how to build character. And the teens basically run this type of summer camp for 3rd through 5th graders. They will teach them how to grow food in the garden. They will cook with them. They will eat with them. And then they will read a book, let's say on curiosity, set a goal on how they can become more curious. When COVID's not around, we will go to a place like Discovery World and develop that curiosity trait together. This is a place where you can be curious. Let's do it. During the summer also, they are the ones at the farmers markets. And talking about experiential learning, they are in the driver's seat here. They are the ones who are doing the accounting. They are the ones who are bringing in the customers, right? So they are really figuring out, oh, I'm actually good at talking to people. I didn't know that, right? And that's one of my favorite moments from working with Teens Grow Greens. I call it like a mirror moment. When a teen figures out that they can do something they didn't know they could do, they look in the mirror and they think like, oh my gosh, who is this person? I didn't know I could do that. They're building on their sales and marketing skills in the fall by creating their own financial model, creating a product, and then pitching that on stage at an event called the Dolphin Pool, which is like the Shark Tank, but gentler. So at the beginning, they didn't really have the skills developed, but now they have all these skills. We help them creating their resume, practicing their interviews, and connecting to further jobs. Because that's really what we want to see, is that all of this is going to lead to further employment, greater rates of high school graduation, and of course, bank accounts and further savings. And we've seen that, even during COVID, the national employment rate in the summer for teenagers last year was around 30%. For graduates of the internship, it was above 70%. So we're doing something right there. What we're trying to do now is we're trying to build on this practice of further employment, further development of skills. And that's where the apprenticeship really comes in. We have 2 apprenticeships. And apprenticeships are basically just like you're being paid to learn and learn a skill. So our two apprenticeships right now are in education and agriculture. Education, the teens are working with staff members to mentor and educate the next class of teens. And we're working with them to go along that educator facilitation track. For agriculture, the teens are working at two places, either Weber's Greenhouse, which is owned and operated by Teens Grow Greens. It is on 4215 Green Bay Avenue, and we are open May 1st. Just short little plug there. They are the ones doing the growing. They're the ones having the customers. Sorry, this light always goes off. There we go. And they are continuing to develop their skills in agriculture. Or they are in the gardens, and that's something that we've added. So they are the ones that are also in the gardens, working with the community, growing and harvesting the plants. All of that produce that we grow either goes back to the teens for their cooking lessons, their healthy cooking lessons, or it's being donated to local food pantries. So that is kind of where we are at as of right now. That's the network. What I wanted to share with you as well as get some of your feedback on, is where we want to go in the future. And it has a lot to do with developing this apprenticeship model. You know, I think that we're not doing teenagers, we're not helping out teenagers by saying, all right, here's the pathway. You go to high school for 4 years. Well, then what do you do? Oh, you go to a 4-year college, right? That hasn't worked out, especially for the minority students here in Milwaukee. So what we want to be able to develop is different pathways for teenagers. We saw from our graduates of Teens Grow Greens that a very few number were going to a 4-year college after they graduated high school. Most of them were getting jobs. So what if we could provide a more structured pathway towards a career? And that's where the expansion of the youth apprenticeship comes from. What we want to do is we already have this education and agricultural track. What we want to do is we want to expand that to 2 other areas that they have already been exposed to through the internship. That is sales and marketing through the entrepreneurship unit, and then the hospitality. And they do that by working at farmers markets through the healthy living unit, right? So we would have 4 apprenticeship tracks: agriculture, education, sales and marketing, and hospitality. And what we also want to do is we want to be able to level these out. Say, all right, here's step 1, step 2, step 3. Level 1 apprenticeship in all of these areas means that you are working with a Teens Grow Green staff member. You are being trained, the skills are being developed. At level 2, you would have more of a leadership role. And either that's with Teens Grow Greens or it's with a partner. For example, one of our partners thus far is the Milwaukee County Zoo. So level 1 agricultural apprentices are working at Weber's, and at level 2, they're going to the zoo to take some of their horticultural skills there. And a key part here for us at level 2 is the teens are getting MATC credit in the area that they have this apprenticeship, right? I call it like an AP for trades. So when they finish this course, they're stacked up with those credits from MATC. And at level 3, the area that we really want to build out is we send them to other organizations or other corporations for what we would call a registered apprenticeship. They get an entry-level job in the field of their career, and they are continuing along this career pathway with another organization, right? And that is a very structured path towards a career that they can really work towards. So how could this look? Well, let's take hospitality, right? At level 1, you are working alongside with Teens Grow Greens. At level 2, you're working with our partner Journey House and their cafe. At level 3, you're working with Collectivo, right? In their industry, and they are getting this pipeline of diverse talent straight into their network, right? So it's very attractive, and it's something that we are looking to really build out. And it's not something that we're looking to do alone. We have started to really form these collectives. So when we talk about the hospitality, we're not going to just have this for the teens of Teens Grow Greens. It would also be the teens of Escuela Verde, a school on the south side, and Journey House. So we're doing this all together, right? And it's part of a collective. And the other real opportunity here is that we're all about growing teens so that they can lead. What our vision is that we build up some of this career pathways and some of the leadership skills so that our partners like Mesmer and Running Rebels can get this agricultural training or hospitality training, and the leaders are the apprentices. So it's kind of like this youth leadership center where you can go to have the teenagers who are really in charge and developing the programs and the further talent. And I mentioned that we are in a community. This would also extend to the community that is around Weber's. This community wants to learn more about gardening, about hydroponics. Again, this is all things that they could learn, and the teachers would be the apprentices, right? And that's kind of my pitch. That's really where we want to go in the future. And the things that we are really looking for as of right now is for feedback on this model. Have you seen anything else like this? But also for other organizations and corporations that might be interested in this type of apprenticeship model. So, I'm not sure if I should say I'm surprised, but most of the corporations that we've reached out to said, great, we've been thinking about this. Our traditional methods of recruitment are not working out. We need to try something new. So it's gone so well, right, thus far, and we're really still trying to shop around this idea.
Well, thank you, Charlie. This was very, very informative and well thought out. Why don't you turn your screen off for right now so we can all see each other? Maybe that would be a little.
I did good too. Just 18 minutes, right?
Hello, and it was great, Charlie. And Steve Chevalier has a question. Steve, do you want to ask it, or do you want me to read it? Here we go.
I can ask. Charlie, we work with the Walnut Way through our foundation, and they have Blue Skies Landscaping. Have you guys worked with that organization at all?
That's one of the places we want to go is we want to be able to connect our agricultural apprentices, not only to good jobs, but good cultural fits, right? And I would see Blue Skies as a part of that. So as we're continuing to build out the levels, yes, that's somebody that we're really looking to as a placement for some of the, I think specifically the teens in agriculture and gardening. A good development this year is that Blue Skies has agreed to order more of their plants from Weber's greenhouse. Weber's is owned and operated by Teens Grow Greens, and our tagline is we grow more than plants, because all the money you spend at Weber's goes back to the nonprofit and the programming. So we were really encouraged to see that Blue Skies was looking to buy their plants from Weber's.
Thank you.
Yeah, but good. I mean, I just saw that they expanded too, so that's really encouraging.
Yeah, they just bought a new building and plotted land over on Fond du Lac Avenue.
Yeah, excellent.
Charlie, I know that MPS has a culinary program that Jennifer Bartolotta is involved with. Have you guys connected with them?
I think that's one of the next steps. We're trying to really form our partnership with some of get that MOU with both Journey House and Escuela Verde. But I think that Jennifer is somebody that we want to talk to about building out these levels as some of the training. The two new areas for us, the ones that we really have to develop, are the hospitality and entrepreneurship. So we are in the midst of really building out the curriculum and talking to people about that. So Jennifer is a great connection.
I'm curious about the kinds of industries that you are looking to set the students up in. I'm hearing cafes and things that actually touch green things like food, but I'm wondering if some of the students could really go anywhere, you know, even working in some of the Milwaukee businesses that is just are looking for teenagers at all.
Yeah, it's a good question. We say that skills are transferable, right? The essential skills, the entrepreneurship, the leadership skills, those are skills that you need everywhere, right? So, you know, the ones that are more applicable to, I would say, when we've been pitching to some of the bigger corporations like Northwestern Mutual, we're saying here's the sales and marketing track, right? And really it's up to the teens to kind of choose the track that they are most interested in early on. But it's not to say, you know, we're not pigeonholing them and saying like, all right, so you chose the agricultural track, so now you got to go into agriculture. We're seeing it more as a pathway that they can follow and continue on or break away from and try something new if they want to as well. And the nice thing is that if we do have a bunch of corporations in our network, that would be easier to make the connections for the apprentices.
How large is your staff, Charlie?
We have 8, including me. I think we would need to add on 2 staff members, or because of the collectives, we would share a leader for the entrepreneurship apprenticeship and a leader for the hospitality apprenticeship.
And so tell us about the retail store. So we can actually go shopping over there at Weber's?
Gladly. Here, I'll, if you don't mind, I'll share my screen once more.
Sure.
How many of you know about Weber's?
Not at all.
Okay, great. I get to make some new introductions. Weber's is really special because it's been around since 1931, the business itself, right? That's almost 100 years. And, you know, since 1950, it's been at 4215 North Green Bay Avenue. And you can see some of these older pictures here, right? This is back in the 70s because Rankin Son is actually still there. You can see it right there. That's now gone. Teens Grow Greens has utilized Weber's since our founding in 2014, right? But we've been able to, or we had the opportunity to purchase it in 2018. And since then, we've owned and operated the space. We've owned and operated it because it's a place for experiential learning for the interns, and it's a place of employment for the apprentices, right? And we've actually done pretty well with it. We have had, you know, a growth in employment. So we started off with about 5 apprentices. This year we have 10 agricultural apprentices, right? So we're doubling the number of apprentices employed through Weber's and the agricultural sphere. And even during COVID, we've been able to grow our revenue by 45%, right? And that was a great pivot for us because we only did curbside pickup last year. This year, we will do both curbside and you can come in and actually smell and touch the plants. So my pitch to any of you is, you know, if you have ideas, please share it with me, but come and tell your friends about Weber's and shop with us because as I said, your your money here, it's growing more than plants. It's growing the teens. We will be open on May 1st, and our website is webersgreenhouse.org.
Hey, Charlie, can I just jump in and put my own plug?
Please.
For years, we live in Shorewood. My wife and I have been going to Weber's even before Teens Grow Greens, but then it's our only spot now that Teens Grow Greens takes over. So if you're looking for annuals, if you're looking to do raised flower beds, vegetables, hanging baskets, Mother's Day gifts, whatever, they've got just about anything other than, you know, what you'd expect at a more traditional floral shop. If you're looking for cut stuff, that's not what Charlie's got, but great team and great purpose too. So you can feel good and your gardens will look great.
Yes. Thank you, Jamie. Jamie's got a green thumb.
Hey, Charlie, a question for you. So your first teens were in 2014, 2015. They're not teens anymore, right? Have you, do you keep in touch with them? Have you followed up on where they are now?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? You know, so we do keep in touch with them. That's where the employment and graduation from high school statistics come from. So one of them is Cole is still in the entrepreneurship and he's still working with plants. The others are more in the service industry job. And then one of them is in the CRN program, trained to become a nurse. We've got a spreadsheet about where everyone is, and we continually reach out to them to see what kind of help that they would need, whether it's employment or mental or physical support. And that's part of, I mean, I think that's part of what our service can do for them, is that, you know, we've built this connection, we've built a sense of belonging. We want to keep in touch with them because oftentimes, you know, they come back and they'll talk about their experience, or they'll be a great introduction to some of these other pathways to careers. And the teens will listen to them more than they listen to me.
Charlie, what is the one best thing that the people on this call could do to help Teens Grow Greens?
So I think, you know, it's the advocacy piece in the way that in the way that you're able. If you're a gardener, then come and shop at Weber's. If you have a group of people that are looking to give back and donate and support, then tell your group of friends about us and let them know. But really, I mean, you know, we want people to know about who we are and what we're doing, and any way that you can help us do that or help us grow, that's the way we'd like you to support us.
Charlie, are the internships paid?
Oh yeah. So they start off at $725. After training, the teens get $850, and we have a grant going this year for a pay raise to $10 an hour at the entrepreneurship unit, because that's the most challenging unit. It's really challenging them. And then the apprentices, as we're building out the structure, I think the level 1 will get 12, and then 14, and then 16.
And then I was just looking, because I just started following them on Instagram. I was trying to find the name. There's a new house plant store that just opened on MLK Drive.
I just saw that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there could be a partnership there too.
Yeah, you know what is odd is the guy who started that. He was in my class at Messmer, and I was a coach for him in soccer. So hopefully I can reach out and try and make some connections. You know, as we're expanding and growing, we want to be able to have Weber's open year round. And so when we do that, we got to get into different business rather than just the hanging baskets and the vegetables. So, you know, what they're doing with more of the house plants, I think that's something that we want to extend to, and, you know, something we want to know where they get their plants, or there can be that cross connection. Murata, right?
Okay. My son Charlie, who is a millennial, says that the millennials are very much into houseplants in a way that, 5 years ago, so that wasn't true, and that it was particularly true during the pandemic. That some people adopted dogs, but a lot of people adopted houseplants.
Look at Stahoyak. Older.
That's right. And that there was this
Guilty.
burgeoning market for houseplants during the pandemic. So hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just discovered a houseplant group for Milwaukee on Facebook. And Charlie, you might want to be watching it just to see what trends are. But it's very, very popular. There's a huge Wisconsin houseplant Facebook group too.
Ooh, okay.
Hey, Mary, I'm just sitting here listening to all this, and a connection internally among our membership for Charlie might be Joe Kressel.
Sure. Yep.
Charlie, Joe has a little landscaping art business in Elm Grove called Hawks. Opportunity there to explore, or opportunities plural.
Yeah. Joe Kressel. Okay. Yeah. Any connections? As we're building out the apprenticeship structure, that's helpful. Teresa said something about software. I think a huge piece is the exposure, right? Like, people don't know what they haven't been exposed to, or what doors haven't been opened. So, the different opportunities and the different exposure, those are key for teens kind of finding their path and what they might be interested in.
Charlie, do you do any financial literacy with your students? I mean, I know you're doing, like a business plan, and they're doing some accounting. Are you looking at their personal, or helping them with their personal financial management?
Great question. Shout out to Brenda and Secure Futures. They have been our partner since, I believe, the second or third year. Secure Futures provides the Money Coach program to all the teams, so they can learn how to budget, how to save, and they have that individual mentorship component. So Secure Futures does a lot of that financial literacy, and all the teens then are set up with bank accounts through Educators Credit Union. Great. If they don't have one already.
Okay.
If I have a little bit more time, though, I'd love to show you what we do have planned in the future. The apprenticeships, the expansion of the internship, there might be this idea about like, well, where could this happen? Well, we are in the midst of developing a space at Weber's, and we call this the Green Acre. The Green Acre is going to be the home base for Teens Grow Greens and Weber's. As I mentioned, we are expanding Weber's into a year-round business. Down on the southern end, this would be Weber's greenhouse, and it would be open year-round, giving us the ability to employ more apprentices. We would also have a teaching greenhouse where a lot of the apprentices could teach those agricultural skills to the partners as well as to the community. Down here, we're hoping to have a cafe and hopefully having some sort of cafe partner. And that's where the hospitality apprenticeship would live, right? So there's actual training going on right there, and the building out of the model that in 2 or 3 years, it would only be apprentices working at this space. We would also have a multi-purpose room down here, utilized for the internship, as well as for the community, for their neighborhood meetings. And then up top is the staff space, and that's the Green Acre.
Is this part of this where Rankin Son used to be?
This is all Weber's.
So there's
right.
There was no car servicing on any of this land, right?
No, it was once a parking lot before Weber's, but this is now, we own this land, and it is an acre, so that's why we call it the Green Acre.
More across the street from Rankin Son, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, okay.
The place that used to be Rankin Son. It's just kind of a pavement right now.
I had a question. Do you serve an equal number of boys and girls?
You know what? Nobody's ever asked that question before, but it is skewed more towards females. Yeah, I would say it's 60-40, right?
I was wondering what could capture more males, because males have the toughest time in Milwaukee. So
yeah, the black men.
Mhm.
We've been able to recruit and retain more as the years have gone by. And part of that is building up, I would say, our team, our education team. So now we have a north side educator, a south side educator, and then an education director. So now we can spend more time focusing on the recruitment. And I believe representation is extremely important. So, we have a black female leading our north side, and we have a Latinx female leading the south side, right? So I think there's a lot of components that have gone into us being able to recruit and retain more of the populations of the north side and the south side.
Charlie, what is the age range of the students in your program?
So we say you just have to be in high school. What we're gearing it more towards is just freshmen and sophomore, because if we're building out the apprenticeships, we want them to be able to take advantage of the levels. So, let's say you go in as a freshman to the internship, you could technically go through all levels of the apprenticeship and either be a senior for level 3 or just be graduated for level 3 for the registered apprenticeship. So we're trying to map it out that way so that teens can really make this informed decision before they graduate from high school.
Charlie, two thoughts. One is, or question, I guess, have you connected at all with the local chapter of the American Culinary Federation? These are the chefs, a trade association for a lot of chefs who not necessarily are at independent restaurants, but are in the food service industry, like for hospitals and other country clubs. It's quite a runs a gamut. I can try and find a connection for you there.
That would be lovely. All of you, I'm not sure if you have my email, but I'm going to type in my email right here. If you have any connections like that, that would be lovely. Because as I mentioned, we're trying to build that curriculum and those connections out. So that would be extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Heidi Chada at MCFI?
No.
They do all the meals for the charter schools in Milwaukee, and they have their major facility is right near Green Bay and Bender.
Right near Green Bay and Bender?
A little south of that, and behind that, it's in one of the warehouse buildings.
Interesting. Do you have a contact there, Alex?
Yeah, I'll connect you.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
She's all about training, all about food service, and seems like a logical next step for your people.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also interesting. One of the reasons I was asking about it is I was involved with it was actually a fundraising event called the Hospital Food Fight, which was having hospital chefs compete against one another for the best hospital food in the area. But it actually, that whole food service within the healthcare environment is, might be a really good fit for your apprentices. Yeah. And there are chefs that are really interested in doing stuff like that.
Yeah, we would love to get into this area, like food is medicine. And I think that's starting to come up in hospitals as well as certain. I know Aurora is open to it.
There's a woman in out in Lake Country. I think in the Oconomowoc area, who has written books and done a lot of work with Harvard on food as medicine. I can give you her contact information too.
Please lay it on me. That's something that I think is, there's been people have sort of said that food is medicine concept. People have said like, yeah, we recognize that, but we're not there yet. So it's been, almost more of a sell than the apprenticeship pipeline.
Charlie, I don't know if this is exactly what she's doing, but you remember Raina Andrews, right? The co-host.
Yes. Yeah.
She's doing something healthy food, and maybe plant-based, vegan, but I don't know if you've connected with her lately, but the pandemic, she's pivoted and gone to food specific.
Yeah. I connected with her. I wanted to see how we could, at the very least bring her in, but that's another good, write that as a note to remind myself.
Good luck. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, appreciate you coming in and spending your lunch hour with me.
Thank you, Charlie. I think we're all glad we did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's terrific.
If you have anything, just my email and send me what you got.
If we go to the greenhouse, any chance we'll see you around?
Sometimes I'm more in the sales department, but I will still be at Weber's, and in the early stages when the teens are not out of high school, they're not out of high school yet. I might take some shifts. It's kind of nice to get that diversity of work. But if you'd like to see me or meet me, please send me an email. My schedule is pretty open these days.
Colectivo 1 Oakland.
I don't go there anymore. That's one of the things that I miss. It's like going into the coffee shops. But.
And you said Weber's will be open on May 1st?
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be there. Thanks a bunch, Charlie. We'll see you around the neighborhood.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay. We'll be in touch.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.